Hi, this is Jedis for Jesus coming at you, and we are Bible-believing Christians. And today, me and my wife saw an excellent movie called The Sound of Freedom. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of clips from the movie, also a couple of reviews that they made on CBN News. And I just want to let you know, on July 4th, Sound of Freedom was #1 in the box office. Just want to let you know that this movie was played in many theaters, and one of them that this weekend actually, it was Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones basically had 2,000 more theaters that movie was shown in than The Sound of Freedom. And the second movie, it had 200 theaters more than The Sound of Freedom. But overall, from July 4th to July 9th, Sound of Freedom has now made $40 million. And I just want to let you know that this film was, for the last 5 years they were trying to get it released, and they had a lot of problems trying to get it released. There's many reasons why, and there is a part in the movie where it talks about the children going to all different countries. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a video that happened over 2 years ago over on the Mexican border, how they dropped these children. Here's that clip. 2 Ecuadorian children are dropped 14 feet over the U.S.-Mexican border wall. U.S. Border Patrol agents later discovered a toddler and a 5-year-old. They were medically cleared at a nearby Border Patrol station. The footage comes as the Biden administration struggles to find space to house several hundred children who are crossing over daily. In some cases, parents are sending their children alone in the hope that they will eventually be placed with relatives in the U.S. So see right there how they just throw them over the fence? Now it's a little bit easier to do it 2 years into this administration. Please watch this video all the way to the end. This information is very important, and people got to be woken up to the evil that is going on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the next clip about this wonderful movie.
The Sound of Freedom, a faith-based thriller from Angel Studios, is now the top film in the country. The film had a smash opening on the 4th of July, coming in at #1, pulling in $14 million at the box office. The movie stars Jim Caviezel and tells the story of a former Homeland Security agent, Tim Ballard, on a mission to free hundreds of children from sex trafficking.
Sometimes the figures are 14 million, 18 million, but it did good. It was #1 in the box office. And I'm going to go ahead right now and show you a trailer on that movie.
I don't think I can do this job, Tim. As soon as I lay down, all I see are those kids' faces. How long you been doing this? 12 years. How do you do it?
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's gonna pass the drug trade.
Señor Timoteo, Tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? Quizá puedas ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana.
Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What will we do?
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off rescuing kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces. This is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
We're talking about extracting an 11-year-old girl from an army of rebels.
Not just her. I'm talking about rescuing hundreds of kids.
She could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA.
That's the part that I was talking about. He mentions LA that these kids can go to. And like I showed you earlier about that clip, that they're just taking the kids and dropping them over a 14-foot high fence.
Over 2 million children a year are being sucked into the deepest recesses of hell. If we do nothing, someday it's gonna reach the likes of you. What if this was your daughter?
Wherever I go, I find my way home.
Analysts believe the film will keep going strong and could hit $20 million by the end of the week. And the story continues. They had the opportunity to interview Tim Ballard, who the film is based on. So far, his organization has helped to free some 6,000 children.
If you got any value out of this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we upload a brand new video. Thank you. So now, these days, that the border is wide open, and up here is a video about the border and how it was being built, and how this administration that's in office right now, how they stopped building the wall and anybody can come over. So what's happening is these kids are coming over with coyotes, and then they're just dropped off in the United States, and they made it easier for them to just say, when the kids get here, that's it, they're here. And then they're going to go ahead and send them to family members. They are basically going to people, and as you see in this movie, they go to people that are not family members, and they do the crazy things to these poor children. And in the United States, there's sex trafficking going on from kids from different countries, and of course there's kids from this country that also get taken and are into sex trafficking. So here is a video that I went ahead and did about when you stop at a rest stop and you see these kids and everything like that. How many of these kids actually got taken and they run away from home, or you think they ran away from home, but they got taken? There's clips on this movie, and there's some clips in this video that you're watching right now that you could see actual footage of kids getting taken by adults so they could be put in these homes, and just like the trailer says, it's like these kids can be sold several times a day. And it is $150 billion industry.
Tim Ballard is a former federal agent on a mission to end human trafficking around the world. His Operation Underground Railroad has helped to rescue 6,000 survivors and arrest more than 5,000 perpetrators. Jim Caviezel stars in Sound of Freedom, the new movie about Tim Ballard's real life. Ephraim Graham sat down with Ballard for a closer look at the true story behind the movie.
We intentionally go to the darkest corners of the earth where there is no hope and find these kids.
Cameras capture some of Tim Ballard's real-life missions to rescue children from sex trafficking. And now there's an even bigger light shining in the darkness.
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
The Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel.
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
Jim Caviezel portrays you in the film. Your thoughts seeing him on screen as you for the first time?
Well, it's really bizarre, first of all, to watch it. But Jim is a special case because I never thought this movie was going to be made, because from concept to screen, I think I read 5% make it to the big screen. Yeah. A few years into their endeavor, I remember they showed up in, I believe it was December of 2017, and they said, hey, we're going to film this summer, and we need to pick someone to play you, which I never let my mind go to that place, because that's a strange question. Right out of the gate, I knew who I wanted. So well, if this is a real question, the answer is Jim Caviezel. And I was so adamant. And I said to them, look, I don't like Hollywood. I don't trust Hollywood. I don't know these actors. I know Jim Caviezel loves Jesus, and that's the only real requirement I have. It was like 4 days. They asked him, they skipped his agents right to him, and he had a really personal experience himself with human trafficking, and we didn't know about it. He jumped right in, and he's one of my best friends today. We're super close and talking all the time, and because he cares deeply.
How long have you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
Take me back, I guess, to that period of your life. What was going through your heart as this is all unfolding?
There was a strange time during that really decade of working in the government, because we were discovering things, and sometimes I felt I was discovering things alone, because nobody was talking about human trafficking, and I would tell people these stories of the things I was coming across, and no one believed me, And the most frustrating part for me was, in the U.S. government, early 2000s, we were focused on the end user stuff.
Yeah.
The child exploitation material hitting someone's computer, but you keep asking the question, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Jim Caviezel says a line in the movie that so represents how I felt, when it's like, this job tears you to pieces, and I need a chance to put those pieces back together.
This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
And really, it was my wife who, because I could have been convinced that my own family was more important than someone else's, which is not true. But I could have been convinced that I can't afford to quit my job. And ultimately, it came down to a conversation I had with my wife in the second week of December of 2013. I was being, even though I'd had many very, very powerful spiritual experiences, both of us, that we had to do this, we had to quit, we had to pursue these operations. And I was so scared because I just come across these stats, and one of them was 5% of nonprofits don't make it through the first year. less than 3% make it through the second year. And you compare that to a federal job, which is secure for your life.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out, and my wife had to remind me, and she did it in a very powerful way, and she grabbed me by the collars, and she said, I will not let you jeopardize my salvation, she said, by not doing this. And it was just like...
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job, and you go and rescue those kids.
When she said that, that's when I really put it into perspective. You're right. Why are we here on this earth? Like, we're not here just to have fun or just live a life of ease and luxury or something. Like, and she followed up that little warning statement with, and if we end up living in tents because we have to sell our house, I don't care because I'm more worried about my meeting with my maker. And so that was my wife's, lesson to me. And I was like, you're right. So I leaned on her until I figured out my own faith. And then we jumped in.
Hey, buddy.
Since leaving his Homeland Security job, Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad organization has rescued at least 6,000 children from modern-day slavery. He and his wife have even adopted 2 of them, growing their family of 7 to a family of 9.
God prospered us in the end, and as dark as the world got, I recognized for the first time being outside the government that there's a lot of light, too, that comes.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Orlando, Florida.
Thank you, Ephraim. Well, there is the heroic family behind this film. Tim obviously is a hero, but his wife, equally of note for the support she gave him to carry out God's unique, special, dangerous calling for his life and the impact they've had around the world rescuing children. Unbelievable. I have seen this film, and it is a phenomenal action thriller, but beyond that, of course, is to inform us of what's going on, and it can be gut-wrenching to watch, but it's worth it. It's worth it to participate and understand what's going on and understand God's love for these innocent children who are taken.
There is a part in there that he talks about that you're better off with a millstone tied around your neck and thrown in the water. So I'm going to go ahead and read that verse, and it is from Matthew 18:4-6, the NIV. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes a little child like this is my name welcomes me. But here's the but part. Don't hurt the children. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. You don't hurt the little children. And what are they doing? That is pure evil. So what it says in the Message version, I'll go ahead and read that, because sometimes in a different version it makes more sense. It's in our language, that how we talk today. But if you give them a hard time, bullying, or taking advantage of their simple trust, you'll soon wish you hadn't. You'd be better off dropped in the middle of the lake with a millstone around your neck, doomed to the world for giving these God-believing children a hard time. Hard times are inevitable, but you don't have to make it worse. It is doomsday to you if you do. So basically, in the movie, he says, you don't hurt God's children. You don't hurt children, period. And we are all God's children. But somebody that's under the age of 18, let me just tell you, this is a movie that you have to see. Let this movie be another breaking weekend coming up. Let this movie continue to be in the theaters, and let them not pull it because you want to see this movie and you want to tell other people about it. The truth has to come out. This sickness that these people are doing, it's all kinds of people, all of this is connected, and there's certain things you cannot talk about, and I say this quite often, there's other places where you can fully talk about your freedom of speech, and I'm hopefully nothing happens to this video, and I just want to go ahead and do God's work. I'm very grateful that if you're still watching this video, thank you. It's very important that the truth gets out, and we have to know that God protects all of us, and sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but you call on His name and He will be there. This is Jedis for Jesus. Hope to see you someday soon in heaven.